is again a very special person. He's a doctor, physician from India, and did PhD here on the subject that we all want to know as much as we wish about centenarians, aging, and how to age well. And he has published a book also on this subject. I'm very happy to introduce Dr. Kallol Kumar Bhattacharya, whose subject about centenarians is going to be a very important topic for all of us. I have already started telling you about 100 years and 120 years based on science one can live. But what is the actual proof of living up to 100 years? For Indians, we generally see these statements from various regions called blue zones, published by Dan Buettner. But somehow Dan Buettner did not explore India. Here we have Dr. Kallol Kumar Bhattacharya, who has been working, publishing, and ready to work further on this Indian centenarians. India has more than 2 lakhs centenarians. So let's hear from Dr. Kallol Kumar Bhattacharya about this 100-year life and very well living up to 100 years. Dr. Bhattacharya? We're not able to hear you, so can you please?
Yes. Good morning, Dr. Rao and everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Thank you. And I just want to share my screen.
Geetaji will let you share the screen, or the team members.
When I will be able to share my screen, probably I'll be unable to view this everyone's face. So because I have 3 screens in my front.
We can see it, Dr. Ji.
Okay. Okay. Can you see it in full screen mode?
No, not yet.
You have to start the It's not full screen. It is in the slide mode. From the beginning, you have to start the slide from the beginning. Yes, you have to press that. Yeah.
I already pressed, and I think because of 3 screens, it's not working.
Or down, like bottom of your screen, there is one play mode is there. You can try that. Bottom of your screen. Right. Yeah. Next to that.
Oh.
Yeah. Do you see it?
Just give me a second.
With Dr. Bhattacharya, we are hoping to map the Indians who are living 100 years and more. And I'm sure India Home will take a big lead in this area.
Dr. J, you can send it to my email. I sent it to you. I can play from my side.
I cannot share my screen. How can I send you?
I sent my email address. Share those slides in the email. Forward that email to me.
Okay, I just sent.
I haven't received it. Checking. Yeah, I got it. Give me 1 second.
You see the full screen now?
Oh, yeah, we can see the full screen, right?
Yes.
Yes, we can
So-
see.
Yes.
Okay, I managed. Thank you
Okay, no
for
worries.
your
Very good.
patience. Okay, first, I'd like to tell you one story. A couple of years ago, I saw an interview was taken by someone, I forgot his name, and he asked a sadhu, you know, the sadhus who are the holy men, the sage persons from India. The person asked a sadhu that, Swamiji, what do you think about the current India, the modern India? In a brief, you just explain how do you think about modern India? And his answer was just one word answer. And he told Atma Vishrit. I think you all know this Hindi terminology, Atma Vishrit. And I think right now, most of the Indians in and outside the country are passing through the same stage, Atma Vishrit. So my today's presentation, rethinking the aging transition. Aging is a big transition in Western countries. Most of the Western countries, it's considered age 65 as the transition phase from pre-older adult to older adult stage. In India,
Dr. Bhattacharya, can you please explain the second word, Atma, and what?
Atma Vishrit. I'm coming to that in a second. And in most of the Eastern countries like India and many other countries, it is considered 60 years, the transition age from pre-older adult to older adult. Now, my today's discussion will be rethinking the aging transition, this transition from pre-older adult to older adult stage. And at the same time, I want to emphasize my subheading, moving forward from a state of self-oblivion. That's why I was talking about Atma Vishrit. From a state of self-oblivion, we are forgetting our heritage or past Indian culture and many other things. We are now fighting in different political issues and many other things in modernized India, but we are forgetting our heritage. And my today's discussion will be dealing with all these things. So just a brief introduction. I'm a research fellow. Currently, I'm working at Utah State University. And I think that's not very much important. But so today's discussion, we will discuss in these topics. First, we will go through an introduction, brief introduction to introduce our topic, what is the issue? This 4WH question. First, introduction about what is the issue. Then we will go through the longevity perspective and why this is important. Then we will go through the Indian context, how this is important and how Indian context or Indian perspective can highlight or can show light to the rest of the world. And then who should we consider to grow this awareness? So we will basically discuss on these 4WH questions, and then we will conclude our discussion. Now, first thing in this introductory discussion, I'd like to say something about life expectancy. If anything we want to discuss about longevity or related to centenarians, we need to learn life expectancy. So what is life expectancy? It's the estimate of average number of additional years that a person of a given age can expect to live. This is in simple word, what is called life expectancy. Roughly, life expectancy in the United States is 78.7 years and India is 68.7. So we all think that India is much more far behind from the Western countries. The life expectancy in India, according to 1931 census, was 27 years only. After the census of 1951, India's life expectancy had increased to 32 years from 21. And in the latest census, census 2011, it went up to 67 years. But the life expectancy I just mentioned, India is 68.7 years. It is at birth. Because we often forget that as we survive longer, our life expectancy increases. So because of many other factors like infant mortality rate, neonatal mortality rate, so death under 1 year, death under 5. So considering all these factors, roughly the life expectancy at birth in India is 68.7. At age 5, it increases to 72 years. At age 60, it increases to 78.1 years. And at age 70, it goes to 81.5 years in India. In US, average life expectancy at the age of 70 is below 85 years. And for India, it is 81.5. So now it's very close. So at the age of 70, it's now comparable. Actually, there is some. Now, if we come to the next part, centenarians, and you can see the graph, Dr. Rao just mentioned about the number of centenarians. Actually, what I found in my little research, as per 2011 data, that around 6 lakhs there are Indian centenarians in India. The number is around 6 lakhs. With slight female preponderance in number, while the number of female is 3.12 lakhs, the number of male is 2.9 lakhs, nearly 2/3 of them live in rural area and 1/3 in urban areas, about Indian centenarians. But I am also surprised to see that UP, if you see that there is a big spike. In UP, the number of centenarians is nearly 2 lakhs. I'm still confused, but the data says that. I don't know how it's possible. Because UP was divided into Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand in 2000. So we cannot consider that it was united at that time. Now, regarding, I'm sorry, regarding the number of centenarians, the USA, Japan, China, India, and Italy are in the top 5, according to Pew research data, PEW. This is a big research organization in the United States. But the China and India are on the top list, are on the list due to their huge population. We all know that India is still a young country as per the age distribution, not like Italy and Japan, because percentage of older adults are much more in those countries. The age, there is another reason. The age recorded for many in the above 80 age group would be the best, as it's maybe a guesstimate, as the many Indians seem to prefer giving a round figure like 100 at this age. 80 plus, what is your age? They tell 100. So this may be, we need to consider these things, why Indian centenarians, number of Indian centenarians is that high. Even sometimes we found that the oldest child age was used to guesstimate the age of Indian centenarians. Now, third thing that comes in this discussion would be healthy aging. According to WHO definition of health, health is a complete state. I actually, my personal opinion, I do not agree with this definition. Health is a I have objection in this word, complete state. So it's like absolute temperature or something like that. So health is a complete state of physical, psychological, and social well-being, and not merely an absence of any disease or infirmity. This is the WHO, very old WHO definition of health. And recently, the researchers added 2 extra terminology in those in this definition, like environmental and spiritual. So health is a complete state of physical, environmental, social, psychological, and spiritual well-being, not merely an absence of any disease or infirmity. Now tell me, if I ask how is your health, do you consider your environmental health or spiritual health? So for a common man, health is considered about physical and to some extent mental. WHO already announced this 2020 to 2030 as decade of healthy aging. But we need to aware first, not only older adults, everyone, that what is the definition of health, and health is not about the physical thing only. It's much more than that. Then this awareness campaigning, the decade of healthy aging, will be successful. If we come to the successful aging, there are many definitions, many theories of successful aging. I am not coming to, there is a time limitation, so we don't need to go in detail, but this is the most commonly, most accepted definition of successful aging or theory of successful aging till date. This is the Rowe and Kahn model, and this model actually accepts these three wings of successful aging. First is avoiding disease and disability. Next is high cognitive and physical function and engagement with life. These all effectively contribute to the to successful aging of any human being. Now, while non-Western literature mostly focuses on adaptation, meaningfulness, connection, acknowledgement, and spirituality, most Western researcher definition described freedom from disease and disability as successful aging. Now tell me, this successful aging is actually still debatable, and it needs a lot of debate. Still, researchers are confused what is actually called successful aging. Now, is there any machine that if we introduce an old person around age 65 years in that machine, from left side, from right side, it will come out the successful agers? It's not that. Rather, successful aging, it starts from very beginning, even when we are in our mother's womb. There is a theory that's cumulative accumulation theory. So different stressors, different life events, cumulatively different events affect our old age, whether we will be successful or not, according to this terminology, in later life. So from very beginning, all these things, this conglomerate effect acts on human later ages. Now, if we come to the longevity perspective, Dr. Rao already mentioned about these blue zones. So currently, these are called many Western researchers. They found the blue zones. Blue zones means where they found largest number of centenarians. Centenarians are those who reaches their 100 years of age, chronological age. That's called centenarians. Now, they found in Okinawa, it's a place in Japan, Ikaria in Greece, Sardinia in Italy, Nicoya in Costa Rica, and Loma Linda in California. So they found these are the 5 places where the most centenarians are present because of their lifestyle. And they found that lifestyle is somewhat different from rest of the world. That's why they are concentrated in these particular 5 areas. I don't know how and why they forgot India. If we think about Okinawa from longevity perspective, it is a small island and has a very small population, but the largest concentration of people living over 100 years old in the world. It has been found diet is an important factor for their longevity. And in this slide, if you look very minutely, the red boxes, meat and dairy, beverages, sugary food, and processed foods. They actually do not eat all these things. And the blue things, grains, vegetables and fruits and legumes. These things are present in a large amount in their daily diet. But diet is not the only factor thought to lead to longevity. Some other factors like low stress, physical activity, robust social connections, and strong sense of purpose of living. These are all factors associated with longevity, and it has been found, it's evidence-based, proved. Now, researchers are working on different things, many things, and they look very minutely, different things, but they forgot some basic aspects. Was this not research? Was this not research? This when human beings first started firing, when they use this stone to create fire, to create cook or different food materials, these spectacles, these books. So these are all research. And this one, human brain is considered more efficient than any of the smartphones discovered till date. And another thing, if you can see this posture, it's a traditional yoga posture, Padmasana, from India. Yoga originated in India. And now Western civilization, Western countries are taking yoga, accepting yoga in from different aspects. But India is still underrepresented and under-researched from this perspective, from the longevity perspective and related spirituality. Now, Indian context. We talked about the blue zones or especially Okinawa diet pattern. Now, if we concentrate from Indian context, we all know that it's common in Indian diet also, our regular dietary pattern. Now, if we consider about our digestive tract, so our human digestive tract automatically, anatomically more similar to carnivores, omnivores, or herbivores. Carnivores are those actually eat meats. Herbivores are who eat grass and vegetables, and omnivores are those eat both, so meat and grass both. Let's find out. First thing is fiber. Carnivores do not require fiber to help move food from through their short and smooth digestive tract. Herbivores required that to prevent bowel clogged with rotting food. Humans have the same requirement as herbivores. About cholesterol. Humans have zero dietary need for cholesterol because our bodies manufacture all we need. Cholesterol is only found in animal foods, never in plant foods. If we come to our mouth, inside our mouth, saliva. Saliva of carnivores is acidic. The saliva of herbivores is alkaline, which helps pre-digested plant foods. Human saliva is alkaline. If we come to teeth, carnivores have sharp incisor. You can see in the picture. And canine teeth capable of tearing prey. No flat molars for chewing. Food passes to stomach in its whole. Herbivores have no sharp teeth capable of tearing prey, but they have flat molars for chewing. Amylase and tyalin helps in digestion. Humans have the same characteristics as herbivores. Now, if we come to the intestinal tract length, we just mentioned about rotting food. Carnivorous animals have intestinal tract that are 3 to 6 times their body length, while herbivores have intestinal tract that is 10 to 12 times more than their body length. Human beings have the same intestinal tract ratio as herbivorous animals. So if we take meat, if we consume more meat, it can become rotten very quickly and it remains in our digestive tract for a long time. And it causes many dietary problems or digestion problems. So basically, Indian diet was vegetarian. So this is the food pyramid. It's called food pyramid. If you say, look at it, Indian food mainly composed of low calorie, nutritionally dense diet, low saturated fat, high antioxidant intake, and low glycemic load. While the spices we consume are highly anti-inflammatory characteristics. So a healthy lifestyle, particularly a traditional diet with low in calories and nutritionally dense, especially with regard to phytonutrients in the form of antioxidant and flavonoids. These are actually present in most of the Indian foods. If we consider anti-inflammatory spices, turmeric is a very common example. Now researchers are working on turmeric for anti-dementia. So it's a lot of potential. Dietary calorie restriction, we most of us know about Ekadashi. So it's intermittent fasting every 15 days, after every 15 days. So dietary calorie restriction, and it can affect on our sex hormones and their precursor hormone. It's called dihydroepiandrosterone or DHEA. And this appear to decline more slowly. And that is the main impact for slow aging in mammals. It has been found, it's already researched and evidence-based. The DHEA, when it declines more slowly, so it causes slow aging in mammals. So humans obviously are mammals. So we all know about the Kayakalp rejuvenation, how to slowing age or how to generate a new body. So these are all our old heritage. And now Western researchers are proving this scientifically. But we are Indian are forgetting all these things. Yoga is a particular thing. Yoga is a philosophy. In US, you often come across various yoga studios. So these are basically some aerobic exercise. Actually, yoga is not that. It's not that 1, 2, 3, 4 exercise that we did in our school life, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not that. Yoga is much more. It's different. It's philosophy. But when these Western people are doing this type of yoga in front of us, we are never objecting them that this is not yoga, what you are doing. But we are smiling and joining them. This is why we are forgetting our heritage. Now, from Indian context, if we discuss a little bit how the longevity perspective, healthy lifestyle factors, whether it's medical advancement or lifestyle modification. I think my vote is for lifestyle modification, because we all know that improve sanitation, improve filtered water that we consume, and the latest discovery of modern medicines, that's antibiotic and many other immunization. Even we all know the COVID-19 vaccine. So these vaccines, antibiotic, improve sanitization and improve water consumption that we drink. These all impacted our longevity. But still, Indian modification, the lifestyle modification from Indian perspective, I think it's much more important than this. Because from Mahabharata, we all know there were many centenarians at that time. I'm coming to that in a second. Another thing is cultural factors, whether gene or willpower. There are many apolipoprotein, it's called apolipoprotein, ApoE4, and it has been found that many Indian, they have this apolipoprotein that's responsible for longevity in their gene, and it's very common for Indians. But still, compounding that effect of lipoprotein, that longevity helping gene, I should say. Willpower. That's another factor, willpower. An older adult woman at the age of 85 without her husband, so I mean widow, even without family, she is living with satisfaction. So how this is possible? Willpower. India has a varied geographic and climatic variation from mountain to coastline that helps in biodiversity. In India, religion, according to last census, around 80% of people are believers of Hinduism, around 15% Islam, and others are Christianity, Sikhism, Buddhism, Jainism, and many others. But there is a religious conglomeration. I'm not talking about today's political picture. There is a religious conglomeration, that religious socialization. Hindu goes to Muslim's house, Muslim comes to Christian's house. So a religious socialization. Stable life engendering philosophy, that's unity in diversity. Yoga is, it's common from our very young age. Through our different daily daily activities, we learn about yoga philosophy. Just for an example, we know squatting position. We all prefer when we go to toilet, the Western commode, Western, whether it has Western bathroom or not. When we go back to India, our home country, and we visit our relatives' house for a day or two, or if we stay in a hotel, we first look at the restroom, whether it has Indian system or Western system. We prefer Western system nowadays. But think about this squatting position that we use in Indian system. Is a versatile posture where the weight of the body is on the feet, but the knees and hips are bent. Basically, when you go down, your core muscles of around that area get fixed, and when you lift, the core energies move, which helps to burn fat, basically, especially the abdominal fat. And US people are now facing challenges of obesity. An Indian system of these toilets or restroom, what should I say? This system, it burns abdominal fat. But we are forgetting about the squatting posture. With diet, we already mentioned about diet. And the social factors, like social stratification, Chaturashram, from very ancient time, about 4,000 or 5,000 years from today. That's what it's called. Anyway, the Chaturashram, first the student life, then the family life, then the gradual renunciation from the family life towards an ascetic life, and finally the ascetic life. The caste system, Varnashram system, we are actually forgetting the positive things, the positive aspects of this caste system, and we are dealing with or focusing on the negative things. Family and religious socialization that we already mentioned, intergenerational relationship, the grandfather-grandchild relationship, that giving relief to this sandwich generation, our generation, 30 to 60, the sandwich generation. They're getting relief from this grandfather or grandparents and grandchild relationship. Marital relationship, another thing. Till today, according to 2011 census, the divorce rate in India is even less than 1%. And it's lower than most of the Western countries. This is due to some bonding that we learned from very beginning. Hindu philosophy is considered among the oldest school of philosophy. Bhagavad Gita, the most venerated religious and philosophical text in Hinduism, probably written around 2000 BC or before the Common Era, and is thought to provide a practical guide to implement the Vedic wisdom in our day-to-day life. Nowadays, US people or the Western countries are researching on Vedic mathematics, Vedic aeronautics, and on all these things. We are forgetting. Now, policy recommendation. I mentioned who should be aware about these things. Although in the present socioeconomic condition, the centenarians in India continue to face the challenges of poverty, malnutrition, inadequate public health care, and economic insecurity. The declining lifestyle of centenarians in present India is not the actual representation of ancient Indian heritage. Currently, many Indian centenarians actually feel themselves a burden and get less attention. They think that we are getting less attention in our family, finding themselves helpless. And globalization has a significant effect on these today's older adults aspects, such as dietary habits, addiction, stress, healthcare and caregiving, level of resilience, and many other things. We are actually becoming accustomed with many Western things. But our old heritage, the path of sustainable lifestyle, may influence us. And this should be our motivation. We should start doing this awareness to our next generation. The health-enhancing effects of the traditional Indian diet and a movement to re-educate younger person in eating, and not only eating, from other aspects also, the traditional Indian way. How to change our own lifestyle and convey this message. So from this discussion, I think these are the major takeaway points. Why Indian perspective of longevity is important, and it can show path to people in the other countries. First, a holistic healthcare system that truly reflects the bio, psycho-social, and spiritual model of healthcare. That's Ayurveda. I can tell you one thing. I practiced in India for more than 18 years as family physician. When I came to the United States, I came here in 2017. I am not eligible to practice here, so I cannot practice. For the first few months, at least, or few years, I should say, it was very challenging for me. Being a physician, I cannot treat my son or my family here. So I started taking turmeric, and you all will be surprised to hear that my family, my wife and my son, they were frequently suffering from chronic bronchitis or different respiratory tract infection in India. But after taking turmeric for long days, it just vanished. We still take turmeric in every alternate days. And I already mentioned that turmeric is, Western researchers are working on this, that it has anti-inflammatory effect and it can work in many aspects. not only anti-bronchitis or anti-respiratory tract infection. It's evidence-based. They're proving that it can even work on prostatic problem, dementia, and many other things. Next, emphasis on a balanced nutrition and dietary recommendation. And that's preferably vegetarian, as we all mentioned. We all use the fork and spoon to take our foods. But if you say, if you are familiar with Sadhguru, he sometimes I saw his videos. So it's Indian heritage that if we take our food through our hand, it will give us more pleasure. Supporting family system for providing older adults an optimum quality of life. We should think about this, that what we want, adding years to our life to become centenarian, or we should add life to our years. That's quality of life. Instead of adding years to your life, add life to your years. Next, a coherent health belief system from the very early age for moral, ethical, and pro-social behavior. What Bhagavad Gita says us, and most of these, this is the basic thing of this family bonding still now in average Indian family. And lastly, the yogic philosophy and active lifestyle. Yoga is present in our everyday, everything we do. That's yoga. It's not only any aerobic exercise. So I think these are the main things of Indian perspective of longevity, and the Western researcher should consider and acknowledge. I have a confusion. I think that they consider Indian perspective of longevity, but they do not acknowledge. That's why I told that earlier that Indian culture or heritage is still underrepresented or under-researched in Western countries. So they should acknowledge this yogic philosophy and all this active Indian lifestyle, which is the main factor responsible for Indian longevity. So that's all for my today's discussion. I'll be happy to answer if you have any question.
Thank you, Dr. Kallol Bhattacharya. So, taking notes from your presentation, so are you saying that there are more than 6 lakh Indian centenarians in India?
Right now, because it was data of 10 data that is 10 years old, and this says around 6,000 centenarians. Actually, I can tell you the exact number: 6,05,778, according to Indian census, 2011.
But if it is the 2011 data, as a physician, scientist who worked with the numbers, do you think in the last 10 years it would have gone up or not?
Yes, definitely. It should go up. But we are still waiting for current census, which was scheduled to be in 2021, but postponed. And we hope that it will be anytime at later 2024.
So taking the data from 2011, 6,05,778, it means that every 2,500, there must be one centenarian in India.
Yes.
If that is the case, and also the medical knowledge and environment and economy and the society are improving, and therefore it could be eventually for every 1,000, there will be one centenarian.
Maybe.
So when every 1,000 will have one centenarian, you are primarily a doctor. So what are your suggestions for healthy lifespan? Certainly, whether someone lives longer life or not, it depends on many factors. But when someone is living long life, what are the factors that we should be considering to be healthier than what it is now?
I should say, from my research and from the research of other people who I follow, active lifestyle is the main factor. And activity, not only physical activity, physical and cognitive, both activity is the main factor. And other than this, we should keep in mind our regular diet. We should avoid addictions, smoking, alcohol. We should avoid frozen food. We should consume the vegetables, fruits, legumes, as we discussed, as much as possible. And we should take spices. We should consume spices through our Indian cooking style, because it has a lot of potency to make us healthier. And I think the intergenerational relationship, that extended multi-generational family, that's also another key factor for longevity from Indian perspective. So we should encourage for that. It's not in someone's hand, but we should encourage for building our family relationship, our social relationships.
Sure. Anybody else? If you have anything to discuss, talk, ask, please go ahead.
Yeah, this is Kishan Rasingani. I would like to say thank you very much, Dr. Kalol Kumar Bhattacharya, for coming over it on our platform of India Home. And it was good to know that your background of being a physician, being a PhD holder and doctor. And thank you very much, Dr. Rao, asking a very important question, last one on behalf of all of us. It was very, very helpful to us. And Dr. Bhattacharya, thank you very much for giving us all broader outlook of long aging and healthy lifestyle, and gave us a big prospect and give us a lot of knowledge and information, and you educated us a lot. Thank you very much, Dr. Bhattacharya. Thank you.
Thank you all, and thank you, Dr. Rao, for inviting me, giving me this opportunity to present my research in front of you. And
I have a question, if I can ask.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I have at present, I have a 102-year-old living, but she has a lot of willpower. She takes shower herself. She needs help, someone to help her to go to the bathroom, but she does shower, everything herself. But she has a lot of willpower. Another thing I noticed was, we all noticed, was that she's very particular about her food. The food part was, even my husband's grandmother, she was alive, but she would make it a point that whatever she had, like for breakfast, she wanted some roti and yogurt, and then milk at night, even if you don't have milk, but she would want to have that. She also lived very long, but very, like, they are very systematic about their food, especially. And the one who's still living, 102, she has a lot of willpower, a lot of willpower.
Thank you for sharing. And I also want to add two things in this discussion. First is you just mentioned about bath. So I forgot to mention this in my presentation. Cold bath. Taking cold bath
Yeah,
is another
yeah.
another important thing for Indian longevity. We
Yes.
are now accustomed with taking hot water bath from
Mhm.
shower. And shower, it's actually comes from our this end, head end.
Okay.
While Indian heritage, and it has been researched already. It proves that if you go on taking bath in a pond or in a river, so the water starts sinking you from your leg end, from your
Yeah.
feet end. So it's just reverse. So hot water bath from head end versus cold water bath from your foot end, and it actually helps to accustom you, give your heart, basically your heart to more time to accustom with the temperature of that water. So it's and very also very important point. Another thing, that is stress. It has been researched that if you taking stress or I should say consume, if you consume stress for a limited amount for longer time, it actually helps in your longevity rather than a big stress for a quick succession. It's injurious to health, but if you consume your stress for, I mean, minor stress, so it can accumulate and give you actually helps in your longevity, and it's proven.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Dr. Bhattacharya, can you please mention or talk about Swami Sivananda, who
Yes,
is
thank
supposed to be
you.
127 years old?
Thank you, Dr. Rao, for sharing this with me and brought up this to everyone's knowledge. Actually, first I have no contact with him, Swami Sivananda, and when I first heard about him, he was actually from Kolkata, and basically he was born in Diden, India, during British ruling in 1896, and according to the Indian passport, tomorrow, 8th August, will be his 127th birthday. So actually, I saw an interview of Swami Sivananda, and basically he told what we discussed today as the reason of his longevity. In his 127, he still live an active life with social interaction, dietary restriction, and the most important thing, that's discipline. Through all these things, dietary restriction, social interaction, what he do, actually I saw he wake up at 3 a.m., then take a cold bath, and after that he do yoga. Then he starts his daily routine. So this is the actual lifestyle of in many Indian yogis. So we have Himalayas, and actually I am a regular trekker of Himalayas. So when we have Himalayas, but we often forget the existence of Himalayas and the resources from Himalayas. So we should be aware. We should aware our next generation about the resources of Himalayas, the land of yogis, that's responsible for Indian longevity. And I don't know whether I covered everything that I wanted to cover in this discussion. I'd like to, it's not an advertisement, but I'd like to request you that I wrote a book from Springer Publication, that's Rethinking the Aging Transition, where I mentioned, actually I discussed everything why I came to the United States for more research on this Indian longevity, Indian perspective of longevity, and the related things. So if you are interested, you can just take a quick look in that book, on that book.
So, do you think that this Swami Sivananda in Bank, Calcutta, is active, talking, and is there a possibility that we can ask him to come on Zoom to talk to us?
That will be a great thing if you can. And I will also try to contact, but I'm not sure. I will try. I can say that. And it's a great idea, definitely.
Please, on our behalf, you can invite him to our group. If he can
I'll try.
come on Zoom, it will be wonderful. Because when we are saying all these things will extend your life, we want to see someone who is healthy while extending their life and living well rather than sick.
Can I ask one question,
Yeah, sure.
please? Can I ask question?
Yeah, we
please?
can hear you. Yes, please, you can ask question. Please talk.
Habits you
Yeah, we can hear you, Kandariya ji.
and we can't hear. How
Kandariya ji,
Geeta ji,
please
let me share my screen.
come near the
Yes.
screen and talk. I mean, near the speaker.
Geeta ji, let me share my screen. This is the book published by Dr. Kallol Kumar Bhattacharya, Rethinking the Aging Transition, Psychological, Health, and Social Principles to Guide Aging Well. In one talk, probably he cannot give all the details, but we hope to interact and get practical value of his work and the book. If there are no more questions, we can conclude because it's already 11 o'clock and you have other activities. And he is also an active researcher, and luckily he's in a time zone behind us. So
yeah. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
ahead
Thank
of
you.
us, not behind us, ahead of us.
Okay.
Thank you.
very
Thank
much.
Thank you,
No,
sir.
actually, I'm behind. 2 hours
Well,
behind.
yeah, whichever way you take.